hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this ragtag group of heroes and adventurers.
Hi everybody, I'm Claire. I'm playing Mira, who's a Dragoborn Sorcerer, half red dragon, half silver dragon. Originally was a bit of a politician, and now has joined the adventuring life, probably to a greater extent than she ever expected.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael. I'm playing Lockie Hobbs, a Warforged Artificer. Originally was part of a flying castle, but I've since left and resumed an adventure with my now friends.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Jared, and I play the character of Jin. He is a level 6 Law Bard and a level 2 Hexblade Warlock. I'm currently an associate and ally of the Tempest Guild, and I'm helping them in their goal of stopping the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat.
Hello, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Shana, the Yuan-Ti Sorcerer, who is traveling with the Tempest Adventuring Guild, trying to find the other half of her soul, who is hiding somewhere away, far from reach.
Hi guys, I'm Matt, playing Yervith, the sneaky Wood Elf Ranger and Rogue, who, after a tragic incident in the jungle with his previous expedition, has now joined up with this lovely ragtag group of adventurers and is looking to see what happens next.
Hello! Welcome back to the Lost Archives. I do little snips to let me know where to do cuts. How you all doing? We're here. We're almost all here. We're only missing Jared tonight. He's sick. Not with COVID, not with flu. What's he got this time? Tonsillitis. Oh, poor little boy.
Tonsillitis, yeah.
Poor little boy.
See, the trick with tonsillitis is to get it removed when you're a kid.
I just
I
have superior tonsils. They're just like fucking jacked as shit, and they punch out anything that comes close. The rest of me's not. The rest of me is pale, pasty, and thin as twigs. But my tonsils, all my musculature is concentrated there, so it just fights off all.
My tonsils were the opposite. They were just like, they got me sick all the time. And my parents were like, "Gotta take those suckers out."
Yeah, those fuckers are gonna come out of your mouth. Yeah, absolutely. No, hello everybody, welcome back. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight and discussing random medical facts about our bodies. We hope you guys have had a really lovely week. I wasn't sure whether or not we'd be able to have our session this week, but hey, surprise, we can! How exciting! We're all here. We're gonna do some Dungeons and Dragons. Let me do a quick recap of the story so far, and then we will jump into the session. The Tempest Adventuring Guild, a group of mercenaries, explorers, and adventurers, has been working to thwart the machinations of a group known as the Order of the Dragon. This cult has been amassing power, wealth, and knowledge in an attempt to perform a ritual which would bring a dark draconic god, Tiamat, back into the world. A story has been following the escapades of some of the members of this group, Mira, Jin, Lockie, Yervith, and Shana, who have travelled to Chiari, the draconic nation, to work against the cult's actions there. Our heroes are now on the run. A violent coup led by a group known as the Children of Tiamat has taken control of the city of Elixir. The 5 elder dragons have been poisoned, their only ally in the city, Ambassador Elia, has been captured, and the city is now in chaos. After escaping the guard who had been sent to capture them, the party have fled to the undercity of Elixir, a vast network of tunnels and abandoned buildings that have sunk deep into the sands. Mira and Lockie have briefly left with a member of the Equalists to try and locate other members uncorrupted by the cult. Meanwhile, Jin, Shana, and Yervith ran into an old friend, Boldor, the Goliath Barbarian who had been recruited to the Tempest Guild and was last seen in Oxenfurt. With Boldor was a Dragoborn Paladin of Bahamut, who introduced himself as Ekarni. It turns out that Boldor's mission to infiltrate the Cult of the Dragon went very well indeed, and soon after he was shipped off to Elixir to help protect the cultists there. Ekarni was a member of the Equalists who grew disgusted by the cult's corruption of his people, a natural pairing. The group decided the best way forward would be to head to the council chambers and try to save the Council of Five. Deeper underground, the party came across some giant spiders seemingly infested with a parasitic fungus. More dangerous, though, was the fungus's other victim, an adult green dragon now corrupted with the mycelium. Fighting for their lives, the party took on this terrifying foe, and through their combined might were able to destroy it. We last left off the session with the party having tricked some Ettins, two-headed giant kin, which had been hiding from the dragon, into giving up some magic items of questionable integrity. And we jump straight back in as the two Ettins, having now reversed who is the leader and who is the subservient, have moved back down the side tunnels and out of sight. Ekarni, you have strapped around the belt with the giant markings around your waist, and you felt a flush of strength as your strength was set to 21.
Feeling pretty good right now.
Feeling pretty good right now indeed. No other effects as of yet, as far as you're aware.
Oh, good.
Have I still got a tiara, or did I give that off to someone else? I think I've still got it.
You
don't
still
I?
have the tiara. I should now say this. So the tiara was already quite warped and damaged. In the fight where you were sort of trying to keep it away from the Ettins and they were trying to take it off you, it has become even more so. You can see that the gem that was in the center of the tiara, this sort of rich emerald green, has cracked even further, and every so often is letting off these flashes of light. Boldor, even with your humble intelligence, looking at this item,
Thank you.
you get a sense of foreboding from it. It's not supposed to look like this. I mean, part of it's actually been twisted. One of the arms that's supposed to sit around your head and ears has been twisted and is now up over the top, almost like a little hat. It's, yeah, the thin, delicate silvery metal has seen better days.
I assume
Like a paramedic getting to
like
a...
have mending.
If anyone has mending,
Boldor does not have mending, sadly.
Jin sort of takes a look and goes, "Oh, if only we had our artificer Lockie here. He could have a look at that for you. Unfortunately, he's gone off, but maybe another time, Boldor."
I've got the tiara in my hand, and I very, very delicately handle it, and then put it back on my head to see if it does.
Oh boy. Okay, Boldor. Could you please roll me
Oh no.
a wisdom saving throw, please? How wise is Boldor?
Allegedly
Ooh.
not very. Ooh.
18.
Nice,
Allegedly
that was
fine.
Good.
Boldor, as you place this on your head, the clearly now malfunctioning magical effect, sort of for a moment you feel this, almost like this intelligence coming from the item itself, some mind alien to your own, and as you place this on your head, you feel it seek to warp and change what you're seeing and what you're feeling, but also what you think, your beliefs, who you are deep down. It's all just information to this thing. But then you sort of fight off this effect and you feel that presence retreating, and the headband, this tiara, this damaged tiara, the light fades and is flickering no longer.
Okay, I will then. If it's still on my head, and so it's on my head, do I feel that presence, like have a go and then stop?
Yes, you feel it almost, so to Boldor's mind, it feels like another mind. There's this, but a very alien mind. It feels, you can almost hear it thinking in numbers rather than words or thoughts. It feels very odd, very alien before this presence retreats and you feel nothing in your own mind. But if you want to try and reach out with your mind towards the crown while you're wearing it, you absolutely can.
I was more thinking if it has a go and attacks or like infiltrates, then deviates. But if I've still got the intelligence boost, do I still have that benefit?
At the moment, no. Previously, what you'd felt when you'd worn this before was these sudden flashes of intelligence, where suddenly you felt much more intelligent. But it's sort of faded for the moment. But you can feel there's something there. There's still some residual magic in this thing. It's just different. The damage has changed it, has warped it even further.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Boldor's going to take that one back off again. He's then going to turn to the rest of the group, holding it in his hands. This tiara is a little bit strange. I thought it was only good before, but it is speaking to me and taking my mind.
I would say, Boldor, you don't get a sense of malevolence from it. Your wisdom save 18 is very high. It's not a sense of malevolence. It's just a sense of very different. This thing thinks very differently to you. And so that incompatibility was what was causing that moment and was threatening to sort of change the way you were thinking and feeling, because it was trying to push its own thoughts into your mind. But not you don't get a sense of malevolence from it or benevolence. It feels very, you don't get a sense of personality. Let me say that. You don't feel there's a sense of personality. You don't get there's no feeling of intent behind this thing. Given your ridiculous wisdom roll, yeah, it felt more like just a spell effect, but not directed at any one thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, rather than taking my mind, it's more of a intrigue about my mind. It was some sort of interaction between. There could be something in here trying to get what's in here. And I look around to the party for any props.
Don't put it back on then.
Maybe not put it on for now. I'm wondering if it would be worth showing it to Griswold when we get back to the guild.
Griswold's all lucky. Yeah.
Well, he might be able to both repair the item, but also explain how it works and maybe how you could take safeguards. Because, I mean, if you could get the effects of this crown, I mean, that would be quite a boon.
Yeah.
Well, we still don't know the full potential of this crown either. And perhaps Griswold will be able to tell us that as well.
But
It
for
also
now...
looks.
Oh, I was just going to say, in its current damaged state, would it be safest to maybe wrap it in something and then store it in the bag of holding, in Jin's bag?
I was thinking if we put it into the bag, then it won't physically hit anything. So
It would be safe, in my mind.
I think that's a good idea. We can't trust damaged magical items at the moment.
Not a great idea.
No.
I begin walking to Jin's bag.
Yeah, Jin will go, yes, I'll keep it safe for you. Keep it safe for you, Boldor. Here, place it in my bag. And he pulls out his bag of holding.
Jin, before you put it in, can you wrap it in a cloak or something that you're not currently using?
I can maybe spare one of my costumes, but what if I need it, Shana?
What if it touches something else in the bag and explodes? I don't know. It's a broken crown.
Broken magical item.
And I'm sure you'll be plenty deceiving as it is, Jin, without another cloak.
He sort of looks at you, Ekarni, and goes, look, it was all in a bit of fun, Ekarni. Take a joke. Yes, very well, fine. Reaches in, pulls out a section of costume, holds it out without touching the crown to place it in. Boldor, you place it in, he wraps it up and then drops it in the bag of holding. All right, I need all of you to make me dexterity saving throws as the bag... No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was waiting for
It
it.
was
Sorry, I
secretly
couldn't
a bag of
resist.
holding going into a bag of holding.
Yeah, it's actually not a crown, it's a bag of holding. No, I'm kidding.
It was a gin the entire time.
It's a gin. Hey, you guys watch as the crown now wrapped up in or I should say the tiara, now wrapped up in one of Jin's spare costumes, drops into the bag of holding and disappears from sight. He closes it back up and straps it back to his waist.
All right,
I
team,
wonder
well,
how those ogres came across such items.
I have to assume they killed people and took them and ate them. Hence why we
Or-
maybe should kill them. As we were
Yervith's
discussing
going to have a bit of a
previously.
look around and sort of say,
Yes.
oh, there are treasures down here. This place is old. Who knows what could be down here?
Ooh,
What
and
powers have
as
been left behind.
I did learn recently that dragons store hoard under their cities, so I think you could be right.
Well, that is true. That is where we're going.
Potential additional point is that this dead-ish, now doubly dead green dragon that's behind us, perhaps they had killed previous adventurers and the ogres just sort of picked the items off their dead corpses.
Although, that belt you've got there, that's giant. That isn't something that your regular adventurer would just be carrying around unless it was brought in from somewhere else.
No, you're not wrong. It's
I mean, Ekarni, you would know that the dragons and giants were mortal enemies when the giants were around. The dragons were the first ones to come through and quickly colonized parts of Nostea. The giants felt like the dragons were invaders. The dragons and giants have always had strange relations, from what you remember of your history.
we didn't invade. We were invited. To serve.
In your mind, yeah. In your mind, absolutely.
I've just sort of scooted back onto the platform and looking back up where the spiders were. Do they have any sparkly bits dangling in their web from people they might have?
Yeah. Ekarni, 100%. There are a couple of bodies bound up in webs high above. Not necessarily humanoid bodies. There's a couple of what look to be largish looking rats. And by largish looking rats, I mean about the size of a dog. You can see the sort of narrow tail slightly poking out. You can see there are two humanoid figures. One looks like it could be a dragonborn. One looks like it's some desiccated corpse. Hard to know whether it's human, elf, half elf from this distance and given the state of decomposition. I mean, the spiders have drunk this for quite a while. There's not much left.
Yervith.
Yes.
You could shoot them down?
Ekarni. Oh, I think I could give it a go. Sure.
I mean, I'll get you to roll just because it's D&D and you probably should roll some dice, but I'd be amazed if you missed this. Just let me put it that way.
So, before he rolls, if they're less than 30 feet away, if Shana can help somehow using Mage Hand to like hold the body steady as like Yervith shoots through the anchoring or something.
They're 30 feet away almost exactly. So the roof is 30 feet high, so they're less than that. So they're about 20, 25. So yeah, you can help. Yervith, you can have advantage for this. 28's a good start. 30's a better finish. Yervith just knocks 3 arrows simultaneously, turns the bow sideways, squints one eye, and then lets go with 3 arrows. The 3 arrows fly through the air. Yeah, 3 arrows at once. Sever the spider silk threads. Be very hard to do in a combat situation, but he's got time to relax. He can focus, and Shana's there holding the body still with a mage hand. Again, I should say Shana's mage hand. It's this dark, shadowy hand, almost has like claws, and it's leaking shadow. It emerges from her shadow, rises up, and then goes and holds the body still. It looks very similar to Jin's mage hand, actually, almost identical. But yeah, Yervith, you fire these arrows, the bodies smash into the ground, the giant rat, and then the 2 humanoid figures. Now that they're on the ground and have sort of split open, the more desiccated corpse, the humanoid one that was sort of indeterminate, actually shatters on impact. The arms and legs splinter off. You can see the head cracks in a number of places and with a squelching sound kind of collapses in itself. Inside, you can see the tatters of what was maybe once some sort of robe. Probably was a red color originally, but the sort of rotted blood and bodily fluids that have embedded into this thing while the spiders have been injecting it with digestive fluids and drinking it. Hey, look, this is what spiders do. Don't give me disgusted looks. You want us to look at the bodies, this is what you get. The red robe has sort of gone a bit more of a brown, but it definitely looks like some sort of like red robes as well. You can see that there is also what looks to be some sort of wand that he is holding, still clutched in these skeletal hands. And as the arm splinters off and cracks against the ground, the hand opens and you can see this white, almost like bone wand in his hands. The Dragonborn that drops down, 100%, yeah, you can see that this is a Dragonborn, a brass Dragonborn, much fresher. In fact, hardly desiccated at all. Mouth open in a rictus of what looks to be some sort of scream, eyes still wide open but covered in bits of webbing holding the face in place. And you can see that his clothes are still intact. Again, not wearing armor per se. You can see it looks to be maybe some sort of like part leather armor strapped over robes or strapped over a toga, which is the sort of traditional draconic fare for Dragonborns. Maybe some sort of archaeologist or thief or some of the, like maybe some sort of grave robber who perhaps stumbled upon something he did not mean to. And you can see he does have a pouch around his waist as well and a backpack. It has not been torn open.
Are there any notes or any like maybe like a journal or something in this guy's belongings, maybe indicating why he would be here?
Yeah, could you give me an investigation check as you pat down the body? While Yervith's doing that, what would the rest of you guys like to be doing?
Turns her attention to the caster corpse that has, she's going to just sort of check out that wand, but also check out the robe, see if they're worth trying to salvage and see if they might be of use to anyone.
Yeah. Do you want to roll me an investigation or perception check? Your choice to sort of figure out what's going on with the robes or the wand. Actually, I'd also allow Arcana if you're investigating the wands specifically, but it sounds like you're sort of going after the robes, Shana. In that case, then Ekarni or Boldor, did you want to... General look, yeah. Did you guys want to look at the wand in that case? Perception, Arcana, or investigation, your choice, and I'll determine what you see based on which one you roll. Yervith, investigation. Yeah, Yervith, I mean... there's something about this body still wrapped in webs, the face open in a scream of horror, frozen in death, as it probably was in the final moments of its life. It puts you off just a little bit. You find yourself kind of reluctant to start patting down this corpse. You sort of have a bit of a cursory glance, but there's something about this thing that gives you the willies. Shana, perception of 5. These robes are ruined. They're beyond repair. body that has rotted inside of these has permanently ruined these. You think these are unsalvageable. This is disgusting. They were once red, and there's something familiar about them, but you just can't put your finger on it where you've seen these red robes before.
Even if like she thinks they're unsalvageable, I think even as scrap fabric, like, because I'm just sort of thinking, I'm like,
I will add, they
worn...
reek of putrefaction. Like, they smell like a decomposing body. Just so you know.
Do I have
if Jin was here, he'd be using prestidigitation to like make it.
Yeah, I've got prestidigitation.
I was just gonna say, Jin would do that for sure.
Can I clean them up with prestidigitation? Because I also have it.
Yeah, you and Jin can both sort of work at cleaning these up.
And
Absolutely.
Like, my unlimited water, my shape water, like give them a good like wash. But even if she thinks they're unsalvageable, I think she'd still try and even just take the scraps of fabric back with her, like, in case they could be of use for someone.
Okay. You can add scraps of red fabric, 6 scraps of red fabric to your inventory. Ekarni and Boldor.
I know nothing about Arcana, so I'm not going to bother with the wand. I'll leave that to the magic folk. But I would like to go over and sort of close the Dragonborn's jaw and do the whole eyes drawn thing.
Yeah, Ekarni, as you do that, you've got to close the jaw. You can see that rigor mortis has 100% set in, and you sort of have to put a bit of strength in before you crack the jaw.
Strength is unfamiliar to me.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah. No, sorry, never mind. Ekarni, as you go to do this, you're expecting to have to strain against this, sort of seeing rigor mortis having set in, but you just close this, slam shut with relative ease. In fact, you sort of shatter 2 of the teeth as you do this. You sort of look down and you feel strong still, that feeling of strength, but you feel like you don't quite understand the limits of it just yet.
Brief little flex to the rest of the group and close his eyes. And...
Boldor, you go.
As you like sort of flex, I walk over to you and have a closer look at your new belt, because these have got hill giant, like giant runes on it, and Boldor is to some degree related with the giants.
Yes.
So he's gonna have a big old investigate of all those runes. So, hey, Ekarni, I want to have a look at your belt.
Yeah, you can look.
I'm not going to take it, but I then gesture for him to like sort of like turn as I begin reading the belt. Like, if there's symbols on them, I spin and try to decipher the symbols.
Yeah. Boldor, could you make me a perception, investigation, or history check? Your choice.
Can I assist in any way, because I also am somewhat familiar with giant from my dungeon delving experiences? Can I sort of like look up and go, I can give you a hand, Boldor, if you're having a bit of trouble.
I'd say you can give Boldor help with that. Boldor, you have the help action. You can roll with advantage on whichever one you choose. As you and Yervith kind of like look and 17, not bad at all. 15 was the second roll, but 17 will take. Boldor, as you're sort of looking over these runes, even though the giant dialect, the dialect you use as a Goliath is sort of like it is still giant, but it's a regional dialect or a modified dialect of it. And the other thing as well you got to keep in mind is that the giant runes haven't really been used as an active language for hundreds of years, not since the giants disappeared. So the dialect has kind of fallen apart and changed over time. It's like us trying to read Old English now. Even though we're English speakers, we would struggle to be able to read Old English. There are changes to the structure of the words that we just aren't used to seeing. But you do a pretty good job. Like, as you're looking over this, Boldor, your natural sort of curiosity and your natural thought processes, and maybe some residual effects of wearing the tiara from before, you just see these patterns and you're able to interpret them. The belt looks like it has names on it. At first, you're not quite sure what these words are, but you quickly figure these seem to be maybe clan names or names of members of a clan. You vaguely remember from your knowledge of giant culture that the giants were arranged within the hierarchy under something known as the ordning, which was basically designed where there's a very strict social class in place, where giants were arranged in a hierarchy with hill giants at the very bottom. But within that structure of hill giants, they would also have clans that they would be loyal to or that they would belong to. These look like maybe names from a clan. You can see there's Guthbert the Gutbreaker. You can see there is, and you're sort of like they're very inventive names. There's Ivar Bone Chomper. You can see there is Yvonne Browbeaten. There's a lot of interesting names here, but more importantly, the very center is a phrase. And that phrase you were able to interpret with you're very confident you've interpreted this and translated this correctly, because it actually isn't too dissimilar to a prayer that Goliaths actually use. May the strength of the clan strengthen you in turn.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So as I read that phrase, I'm going to sort of fumble through some of the names of the possible members or clans, and then I get to that phrase and just read it out loud. I'll read it first in Goliath. In Giant.
Yeah.
And then come back and then say it again in Common. So may the strength of the clan strengthen you. And then what was the whole phrase actually?
May the strength of the clan strengthen you in turn.
Yeah.
As you say it in Giant, the symbols begin to glow very, very faintly. Ekarni,
Oh wow.
you grow 1 foot. You watch as Ekarni stretches, muscles sort of starting to bulge against his scales as Ekarni grows a foot taller.
Oh my lord.
Whoa!
Ekarni, this feels very strange. You feel your bones lengthening and reshaping, not just getting longer, but tougher. Everything inside of you feels more sturdy, more solid. You can feel your muscle fibers themselves stretching and thickening. And your armor is now sort of, there's a little bit of midriff showing as your torso is stretched. Luckily, your digidegrade feet stretch up, and so there's no change. Like your pants are a little bit shorter on you, but I mean, most Dragonborn walk about barefoot on digidegrade feet, so it's not too much of a change there. But a little bit of midriff showing. The sleeves are a little bit shorter than they were before.
In a crop top plate.
Crop top plate mail. Yeah. Yeah. Ekarni, as this sort of stretch occurs, it doesn't hurt, but it feels like this should hurt a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I have a question,
Pretty
but I don't
cool.
know
I
if
take a
it's...
step back.
am I as tall as
Yeah.
Boldor now?
Yeah, you would be. Absolutely.
Fuck.
You had a question, Yervith?
Are you okay?
Yeah, would Yervith have seen the effects of enlarge or reduce before? Is it like that, or does this
You've
seem a lot more
seen Lockie
physical?
use enlarge.
Yeah,
you've seen Lockie
use it before, yeah.
You've seen Lockie activate an ability based on giant runes where he grows to the size of a giant. No, this is physical. His body has stretched and changed. With Lockie, you can see magic always around him, sort of augmenting and changing his form and shifting him as he grows. Almost like a transformer, right? Like Lockie unpacks into a bigger form. His Warforged state, Giant Forged state, I should say. As he is a custom subclass of Warforged called Giant Forged, or subrace of Warforged. But this is different. Ekarni, this looks like flesh molding. This looks like he has grown in size. In front of your eyes, in the space of a few seconds, he's grown an entire foot, and you can't see any signs of magic. This clearly has to be some sort of magic, but there's no magical effects around him, no wards or auras. It looks like his flesh and skin have grown and stretched as he has taken on this more giant form.
Wow. Yeah. Yervith just looks on in awe, like, whoa.
That was wild.
Are you okay?
I think so.
Are you in pain?
No. I
Oh.
feel strong. I feel good.
If anything, your sword feels a bit small in your hands now, Ekarni. As you look, your hands are even a little bit bigger.
My halberd's down to...
Halberd, sorry.
It's like a toothpick in my hands now.
Not quite, but yeah, sure.
Boldor looks with a little bit of pride, and then walks up to the giant's belt, and then gives it a tap and says, "The giants are strong themselves."
Nothing happens to the belt. Ekarni, Boldor just like taps your waist where the belt is.
He's more saying it to like look around, being like, we've been praising the dragons a bit, and he's trying to get a point on the board for the giants.
For the giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, the giants.
Let's not say that phrase again anytime soon.
What phrase? The strength of the clan, may it strengthen your own resolve, or something like that.
None of that, Deceiver.
Nothing
I
happens.
should that was Jin saying that. Not
yeah,
you.
that was Jin.
Nothing happens.
Nothing
I don't know
happens.
if my body could take that again.
What does Jin think of this?
Jin. Jin's looking very curiously at this belt. You can see that he's thinking very deeply about it, and he does say the phrase again. May the strength of the clan strengthen you in turn. Oh, may the strength of the clan strengthen you in turn. Oh, really? Nothing? Oh, that's disappointing. I wanted to see how big we could make him.
Maybe it has to be from a true giant.
You should say it again, Boldor. You should say it again. See what happens.
Whoa! We don't want to say it too many times. We don't want him to
What do you-
split.
explode.
I won't
What
fit
do
my
you think,
armor anymore.
Ekarni? That's a no then.
In any case, we don't quite know what it does, so perhaps we'll just leave it at that and get on our way then, huh?
How many more belt buckles? How much can you tighten this more? I imagine you've gotten wider in the waist as well.
Here's the thing, Boldor. The belt has grown with him. As you're noticing that, this is great. As you're noticing that, it's grown with him. Ekarni, that hunger you were feeling before, you were sort of feeling a bit peckish. You're hungry. Like, you've done a lot of growing in the last 10 seconds. You are feeling quite hungry. There is a grumble as your stomach. Yeah, your stomach would audibly grumble that all of you can hear. And Ekarni, you're feeling hungry. Like, that's a lot of growing you just did.
I start digging into my pack and whipping out my dragon rations.
Could you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
I surely can.
Oh.
It's not what you think. Maybe it is what you think. I don't know what you're thinking.
And he
14.
dies.
Ekarni, you just begin tearing through your rations. You guys watch as Ekarni eats 2, 3, 4 days worth of rations in a very short amount of time, just demolishing this food. Ekarni, as you're sort of getting through this, you're feeling better. Like, this is filling you up nicely. And as you sort of get to the 5th day's worth of rations that you've just consumed, you're feeling good now. You're not hungry anymore. You're not full. You're very far from full, but you're feeling closer to... You're feeling satisfied. That was enough. As you put the remaining 2 rations back in your bag and just demolish the other 5. Yeah, you're feeling better.
Boldor is
Around like I
impressed
didn't just
by
do
the amount of food
Nothing
you just
to see
ate. Boldor
here.
was impressed.
Jin sort of looks with horror as Ekarni just starts demolishing this food.
Yervith is kind of like, you know, if you need food, I can help. I can give you some berries if you need them.
Are they good berries?
You might need more than berries.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. They're okay
One
berries.
berry will fill the stomach of a man for a day, but
I'll take 4.
Yeah, he will.
So these Ettins are definitely the murder crown they had going on of Bones. They probably did kill people, so what do we think?
I feel
We can
like
see-
we've got more urgent things to attend to. We are meant to be getting to the Citadel. The city is still in ruin, or under attack, I should say.
True. There are more pressing concerns for the city than a pair of rogue Ettins. We can always come back for them once we've sorted out what's gone on with the council.
Yes.
Do we
for
want to
help.
check?
I mean, they would be the most likely to know the way around here, and I mean, they've been nice and hospitable so far.
Well,
Why
we
are
weren't we weren't able to get much from them though. We
They
did
said
ask
go
them whether
north.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
they
we go
just
north
pointed
then.
us.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always try going north and fall fail, so you'll come back.
Did you ever pick up that wand, Shana, or you just?
I got a little bit distracted with the robot actually. I was wondering,
Shana, as you look
Can
over, the
someone-
wand's gone.
what?
Scammed.
The wand is gone. Jin, do you have the wand?
Jin, like, looks at you. I don't know what you're talking about. And you see him
Insight
pocket the
check.
wand. Yeah, you see him pocket the wand.
Okay.
As he pulls it out of his sleeve, he goes, no one seemed to be interested in this little bauble, so I thought I'd have a bit of a look.
Look, I had a bit of a glance at it, but it seems a little bit outside my wheelhouse.
He begins
chance you
flicking it
recognise it
through
at
his
all?
fingers. It's made of bone. He tosses it between his fingers and then stops and grabs it.
Bad. But FX, I mean, do you have an idea at all?
Avada Kedavra!
Yeah.
And he points at you.
Cast a spell.
Nothing happens as he just swings it around and like points it at you.
Did she just feign death?
You can feign death if you want. Do you want to feign death? Oh my god, okay. You guys watch as Jin points the wand at Shana and says, Avada Kedavra, which in his mind is just gibberish. And you just watch as Shana just, and then falls down, lifeless and still. Jin sort of looks at the wand, drops it, runs over and like starts shaking you. Oh my god, she's actually dead, guys.
I knew you were evil.
No, I didn't know what it did. I hadn't tested.
What have you done?
I didn't do anything.
I told you everything could not be trusted.
It's the wand. I didn't know what it did. He points over at this bone wand.
Walks up to
And then I
him.
think he just gets back up and goes, well, safe to say it doesn't do that.
How long does feign death last for?
It's not a spell, like, it's literally just...
There's a spell called feign death. I thought you were casting the spell feign death.
It's literally a spell.
Oh, okay. In that case, then.
Wow, player.
Okay.
I went for the wow definition.
There is actually a spell. And I think it lasts
So there
for
is-
an hour as well.
There's a spell called feign death that lasts for an hour. This is why I was amazed. I was like, you cast feign death? You're like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Sorry.
It lasts for an hour. To all outward investigations, medicine checks, arcana checks, you are dead.
Yeah. It's very good for that.
Yeah, you are blinded, deafened, and paralyzed for an hour. It's an intense spell to use. It's like when you are about to suffer a TPK, and you're like, "Well, there's only one way out of here. See you later, shitlords." Feign death yourself, or if you need to like get into a funeral home for some heist.
It was a spell.
Yeah, infiltrate a morgue.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, Dungeon the Mad Mage, if you wanted to bypass a whole lot of the upper levels, feign death is a good way to get through it. Just saying.
True.
But yeah, okay, in that case then you're not casting feign death. As Jin runs over and shakes you, like he feels you are still warm. Okay. Performance 17. Okay, then what we just described does happen. And then Shana sits up and goes, "No, I'm kidding, I'm fine." Haha. Jin just like uses mage hand to slap you, Shana. You watch as this shadow hand emerges from his shadow, like flies over and then goes whoosh.
Hey, Boldor, do you know what's up with those shadows?
Boldor
Bring it up,
didn't
it's kind of
see.
weird.
Boldor didn't see the shadows in the previous session, so I don't think he does.
You've seen Jin do some shadow magic stuff, definitely. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure you did see Jin do some shadow magic style things before. I'm trying to remember
Okay,
what specifically you would have seen, but yeah, this is the first time you've seen his mage hand, and certainly the first time you saw his sword, that weird sword he summons from his shadow. That was
Yeah.
weird.
Let it be known that Yervith is making a mental note of all of this.
It's okay. Good to know.
Because before Mira and Lockie left, they told me, they're like, make sure they don't do anything weird. So I'm like, all right, but because I already am pretty onto them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Yervith, you sort of see Boldor and Ekarni taking note. Ekarni, Boldor, you notice Yervith taking note as well and looking a bit like confused.
I give you guys
And
like
thoughtful.
a side eye, like the eye of like someone who's like, I know what's up and I can tell you, but I'm like, maybe not right now. It's kind of like a bit of a side eye, like kind of an eyebrow raise, sort of.
Give you the sneaky thumbs up.
Yeah, very subtle. I try to hide it as best I can.
Boldor just like investigates his shadow, like he like waves it around, but even doesn't do anything.
Your
I don't-
shadow
I
acts
don't
normally.
know too much. He sometimes does shadow things. This is different a bit now. That's what I whisper.
Fair enough. You mentioned there's a pouch on the Dragonborn corpse that I head squashed. Owen?
Yes, sorry. For some reason I thought that was in character. I don't know why. Yeah, there's he's got the Dragonborn, let's call him the Dragonborn adventurer. or thief or archaeologist. Has a backpack and a pouch. Backpack on his back and a pouch around his waist.
Yeah, I'd like to politely relieve him of these burdens in the afterlife.
I would say
Sorry.
you would know that Dragonborn religion, you are often burnt is the correct way to be returned to the hall of your ancestors, and you do not take possessions with you.
So I help him with that.
You help him with that.
The lack
Yeah.
of possessions part.
You release his soul from the burdensome possessions of these earthly goods as you take his backpack off and the pouch. Have a look through. Ekarni, there's a few coins in the pouch. It looks like a few coins, gold and silver from the Draconic Nation that have been minted in the symbol of different dragons. It all adds up to roughly about 8 gold and 6 silver worth of coins. The backpack, however, is an interesting story. As you pull it open and look, you can see that inside, in a glass jar, is a purple pulsing mass of that mycelium, softly pulsing against the glass walls of the jar. You can also see that inside the backpack are a number of scrolls, which look to be hand-drawn maps of some of the tunnels. You can see where he has drawn dead ends. You can see where he has drawn some dangers. But more importantly, as you have a bit of a look around the maps, you can see that he has actually drawn a large tunnel heading towards the north, and he's written, "Council chambers, don't get caught."
Oh, guys, I found 2 things of great interest to us.
Wow.
Boy, that's convenient.
Convenient.
Spooky fungus handy map.
Yeah,
We've got the name of the episode, everybody.
Yeah.
Look like the fungus that was stolen from that greenhouse, the plant.
This looks a lot like the fungus that was on the dragon and the spiders.
Yeah.
What was taken from the greenhouse was plants. This is fungus.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I know there's been a lot of biology in this in these last few sessions. I apologize.
Okay.
If Shana recognizes that it's the same mushroom, can she quickly seal it in
It is
one
sealed.
of her
It's in-
poison containers?
It's in glass. It's sealed in a glass jar.
Oh, phew, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was grabbing it and holding it up.
Yeah, guys, look at this.
Fungus pizza.
Oh, it's dissolving my hand.
Wow.
Oh no! What if I? Oh, it's on my face. It's sealed in a glass jar.
Does it
Big
seem to
cork.
be reacting to like where his hand is on the jar?
Oh
Is it
yeah.
gonna go
Oh
for it,
yeah.
or-
Oh yeah. As Ekarni pulls it out, it grows away from the light and towards the shadow that his hand is creating.
Oh,
Interesting.
Spooky.
It's going for the dark. It's not going for the light.
Yes.
hey, Ekarni, can you spin that glass around?
Spin the glass.
I
It
say
moves,
under my breath.
pulling itself
I say
over.
under my breath. Oh yeah, your god's gonna love this. What?
Shana, you hear that? Jin hears that as well. Jin gives you a bit of a look and goes, "Not the god of mushrooms, it's the god of shadows and well."
Well, you saw how it reacted. Loves the shadows.
Gee, Owen, can I just have a little bit of clarification?
Yeah.
Is the fungus like retreating from the light, or is it growing towards the darkness?
Well, that's a tough question to answer because that's based on your interpretation. You see it moving from the light towards the dark, away. So every time it looks like it's either moving towards his hand or the shadow that his hand is creating. There are other experiments you could do to check this though, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I take it over and give it to the shadow folk.
Yeah, Shadow Kin, yeah, Shadow Snake and Shadow Boy.
I think Shana's probably just holding it and just like, sort of turning it around and having a look and seeing if she can actually figure out if it's after the darkness because it's afraid of the light or because it just thrives in darkness.
Can you make me a nature check, please, Shana?
Nature, not a strong suit.
3.
Oh, wow.
Shana, you're looking at this thing, you've got no idea. For all you know, it's growing towards hands. Maybe it's attracted to hands.
Yeah, guys, it's attracted to heat. It's not the light or the dark. It's the warmth of your hand.
Shana, give it here.
Hunger is the rumblies that only hands can satisfy.
That's a good reference. Is that the llama?
Llamas with hats, yeah.
Llamas with hats.
Yeah.
My tummy has the rumblings that only hands can satisfy.
Wow.
I mean, Ekarni, as you say that, you could go a hand right now. Like, go a hand.
People.
Carl, that kills people. Yeah. Yervith, you take the jar off her and have a bit of a look. Do you want to make a nature check for me, please?
Yes, please.
Are you a bit more natural?
I certainly am.
Let's see. 18. Yervith, yeah, this thing is growing away from light. It's moving away from light to areas of darkness. You definitely get the sense that it is not very happy about being brightly illuminated. In fact, you can actually see, since being removed from the pack, sections of it have actually started to die, being exposed to direct light.
Okay. It doesn't look like it's growing in mass. Well, like I'd probably cover it up a little bit.
Now that you're looking at it, no, it's not growing in mass. It's in a sealed environment. It cannot increase its mass any further. It's a sealed environment, so it looks like it's merely using itself to grow and push, probably eating its own dead strands.
In complete darkness, does it look like it's moving towards me, or is it just staying stationary?
As you pull it into darkness and then try to have a bit of a look, you do get the sense that it is trying to head for sources of heat once it's in darkness. Yeah, definitely.
It is like heat.
It's both. It is both. It's trying to stay out of the light and it's trying to go to sources of heat.
Yeah, I look back up at Shana and go, well, you were partly right. Definitely after heat, but if we want to keep this thing alive, which I don't think that's a good idea given what it's clearly done to these poor creatures. Yeah, keep it out of the light.
It's dark in the bag, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's pretty dark in the back.
Throw the backpack over to you guys.
Before it goes in the bag, Shana's just gonna make sure it's like fully sealed. Like it's got like the cork's not partially off, or like.
Are you putting it in a backpack or the bag of holding?
I was thinking we just put the backpack in the bag of holding, unless someone else has a different idea.
Will it die in the bag of holding? Does it count as an alive thing suffocating?
There's no air in the bag of holding, but it is also sealed inside of a jar, which means it's got a limited amount of air already. Although corks are permeable to air, so yeah, that's a good question. I know the answer.
It's going to be getting starved through the cork. So
I've got a question, but I'm not sure if it's a question that Shana would ask, which is, are there spores on like anywhere in the jar or on the underside of this like fungus?
Shana, I would say that is a question. If you think of it, your character thinks of it. As you look, the whole underside of the cork and the walls of the jar are covered in these light purple spores.
And would Shana know, hey guys, I mean, the spores are present as long as they stay dry and intact. Even if the main body of the fungus passes, say, we put it in the bag of holding and the bag of holding's too dark and cold for it. If we should want to reproduce this fungus, I'm not sure why we would, but we could theoretically reproduce this from the spores that are already present in the jar. So we don't need to worry about the death of this fungus.
Yeah. Well, I have a very low mycology roll. Yeah,
what's your mycology stat? -10. Yeah, I mean, you've got no idea.
Sure.
Yervith's just going to shrug and just say, look, probably safer in the bag of holding. If you think that we can somehow resurrect it later on, it's fine by me.
I think I slept through those lectures, Shana. I'm going to have to trust you on this one. I don't remember.
Well, we'll make sure that the jar is well sealed. We do not need any chance that this lid comes off inside the bag, but not that I think that it would be produced in the bag anyway, but
Jen, think of all your pastries if this was to get on it.
It can't go in the bag of holding, guys. We can't allow that. I can't risk compromising my strongest asset.
Idea. What if it is well sealed? Does anyone have any wax? Can we seal this thing in wax? And then it is very, very safe. It's not getting through a wax seal, Jen.
No, of course not. I mean, it didn't just take over control of a giant adult green dragon. I mean, wax should certainly stop it.
Come on.
Jared would say
that. If this jar gets damaged, the fungus and the spores get out, and then dragon stuff happens. But if it's in the bag,
I think we should destroy it.
Safe.
No, I think we should destroy it. Why are we keeping this thing?
Fungus
So
grenade.
Lazarus could find it really cool.
Fungus grenade.
Fungus grenade.
I'm sorry, what?
Right.
Well, I mean, what? I didn't say fungus grenade. Did you say fungus grenade?
I mean, I was thinking maybe Lazarus might like it, but I mean, fungus grenades work just as well.
Why would Susurrus want a highly infectious form of fungus?
Why wouldn't Lazarus want a highly infectious form of fungus?
You are playing with some fire here, Shana.
That is my life.
Yes, yes. I'm starting to see it now. Yes. It's this line of thinking that got your people in trouble.
I've just had a look. I don't have any wax on me, Shana, if that influences your decision at all. Does anyone have any wax on them?
I have a candle.
Candles are made of wax.
That'll do it.
Okay, I'll put it up to the group vote. Do we take the spores with us, or do we destroy them here and now? Because we're not leaving them unattended.
When do we next visit our friend who can inspect these things?
That's a very good question, because we don't really know at the moment.
Griswold's back at the ship, and the ship is potentially in a bit of trouble. We know it's a couple of hours away from Veloxur if we wanted to get there.
You see,
Plus,
the thing
I'm
is...
not sure if Griswold knows much about biology.
He's more mechanical.
The thing is, the poisoning of the council members was done with wine, I believe, that was supplied by Bacchus, our friend, who we landed the ship with. So if the authorities or the guys up there have gone to apprehend Bacchus, they've more than likely apprehended our ship. So at the moment, we have no way of leaving.
You know who poisoned the council?
Well,
The
the note
Equalists.
that we found said that it was the Equalists. Now, I don't know if that's true.
But you
I
gave
believe
them
that
the
was
wine.
bruised.
Well, your friend gave
Well,
them the
we think-
wine.
It was
Anyone can buy the wine.
Bacchus wouldn't have done that. It could have very easily been set up.
We
very
think he supplied wine to the council on a regular basis, and someone poisoned specifically that wine that they were drinking, and he's been framed for it along with
Surely
Elia.
you know of Bacchus's wine. It's
Yeah.
very well known. But
Ekarni, you've tasted Bacchus's wine once or twice. He's an eccentric green dragon who lives out in the outer city on his own estate, known as the Worm's Respite, and he makes very experimental wines and strange flavors.
That Bacchus.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Obviously. No, that's fine. Just
I mean,
look,
you would know him as
honestly,
like
still-
a very apolitical creature. Deliberately left the city because he hates politics and doesn't like getting involved. He's got a reputation as being a bit outlandish, a bit out there, but obsessed with wine. That's his focus: wine and alcohol. That's all he cares about in the whole world.
pro wine, anti politics. Got it.
Yes.
Aren't we all?
Does the map have any details about this glass jar?
No
really
information on the jar on the map. It I would say, having a bit of a look through, you can see there's a couple of other empty jars in there. You get the sense that he carries these things with him, or carry them with him in case he found things. Came across this fungus, thought he'd get a sample. Ambushed by
I
spiders.
think the spores are too valuable to be destroyed. I mean, think about all the stuff that could be done with it versus the potential loss.
What could be done with it? Only pain.
Yeah. So do we destroy it with fire now, including this dragon corpse that's also likely covered in spores? Actually, the entire cave would need to be sterilized.
Would be here for too long.
So we take the spores with us. That way we have a cure should it get out. Or, something that we can study to try and find said cure.
That is a persuasive argument.
It's a good point. Maybe some further research could provide us an answer, and perhaps we could come back and fix this cave. I mean, who knows how much more of the Underdark has been infected?
Yes.
There is also and I pull out the stick. I'm guessing the spike that was in the
Oh,
middle
yeah,
of the
that's-
dragon. There is also this, whatever this
Can
is.
Shard
Shana
of wood.
quickly cap it in a poison vial just to keep it
Oh,
away,
it's a bit-
isolated and
It's a bit big
safe?
for a poison vial, but one of the jars that this explorer had with him would fit in one of the jars. Yeah, the specimen jars are about sort of 20 centimeters high, 10 centimeters in diameter. It'd definitely fit inside one of those. It's a bit big for a single test tube vial.
Yeah.
A little bit of like mixing two things, but yeah, just
Yeah, you put it in, close the lid. Yes, Boldor.
Does contents of glass jar number 1 get attracted to contents of glass jar number 2?
Ooh, currently Yervith has glass jar holding fungal threads, and Shana has glass jar holding spike of wood.
Shana hands the glass jar off to, like, with the wood to whoever was interested in it. Sorry. She just didn't want it to accidentally explode.
As Yervith is holding both of them, you watch as the spike begins to glow, rising off the bottom of the glass and hovering in the very center, spinning ever so slowly. As it does so, the mycelium in the glass jar, the mycelium threads, begin shifting and organizing themselves. No longer a chaotic mass of tendrils, they begin forming a sphere in the very bottom, a semicircle or a sphere adhered to the bottom. And then the threads begin growing up towards the cork, probing against it.
No, get that candle, get the candle, start melting it,
As you pull them apart, the threads collapse and drop back down to the bottom and form a chaotic mess once again.
Shit.
Wow.
Do the spiders have a similar chunk in their noggin?
No. Ekarni, as you have a bit of a look through the spiders, there's no similar chunks. The spiders were just infected with this thing, and it looks like it was growing through them at sort of a chaotic, random rate, bits of chitin being melted off. Whereas the dragon, this thing was wrapped around parts of its brain down its spinal column, much more organized.
Yervith is going to look at Shana and go, "You do know who might know about this. Depends how much time we have. It won't take long, but I could try. Lyra might know."
Yeah, she probably. She might. It depends if she's run across it already or not. I mean,
is it worth bothering her?
I think it's absolutely worth asking her, but maybe once we're in a more safe and secure location. I think there are more pressing matters at hand, but I absolutely think Lyra, we should ask her.
Well, when we get a bit of downtime, I'll reach out.
It's a good idea. In all honesty, I'm quite terrified about that core that's currently in the grasp of our enemy.
Yep. The sooner we can get back to the ship and check on the core, the better. And save the council members. And stop the children of Tiamat. And get out of the city. All of that. That'd be good.
Just a few things.
Yeah.
The spike that was inside the green dragon's head, was it like pointed directly down towards its brain?
Yes, it was. Absolutely. It was jammed. It almost looked like it had been jammed through the skull and pierced through the bone.
Someone did that.
Force.
Directing the flow of fungus. Yeah, the two jars side by side, presumably thing pointing up, and then it grew up and then went upwards.
Boldor,
like an antenna.
The residual effects of putting on this tiara are still strong. As you say that.
Boldor.
Yeah. I mean, you're still feeling this sense of everything's a pattern. Since you put this on, you felt that probe. You can feel that there's patterns everywhere. You just have to know how to see them and how to look. Even though this tiara was unsuccessful in whatever it was doing, some of the lingering effects are still there. And Boldor, you just see patterns. You see things forming and linked together.
Rayman.
Yeah.
Perfect crossover between this character. So aligned.
Yeah. And as you say that out loud, Boldor, you're like, that sounds correct. Yes.
Yes.
I would say that you're right, Boldor.
Oh, thank you. I am working on the detective. Well,
whatever did this remains a mystery.
So do we keep these two jars separate then?
I think that would be wise.
Fungus in the bag of holding, and then spike in someone else's bag.
The spike seems harmless enough. I think the fungus probably should go in the bag of holding there.
Agreed.
Sealed in wax, though, right? Just to be safe.
Oh, of course.
Both are sealed in wax, I think. Just the entire tube.
Ekarni's got one
Alright.
candle. That's not quite enough to seal both jars in wax, but you can definitely coat around the cork and part of the jar that has the fungal mycelium threads in it in wax if Ekarni gives you his candle.
I throw you the candle. I head over and I offer Yervith that bag of coins that I found in exchange for one of those aforementioned berries.
Absolutely. I grab the coins and I conjure up some good berries.
You can add 8
Very
gold
much.
and 6 silver to your inventory, Yervith, and you can conjure up as many good berries as your spell slot of choice will allow you.
It'll be 10.
10. You got 10 good berries. Do you hand them all over to Ekarni, or do you guys...
I hand them. I just sort of make the 10 and hand them out to Ekarni to take as many as he wants.
Do I have any
Hold his
self-control
eyes.
over these berries?
You're not as hungry as you were before, having eaten through a fair few of your rations, but you can still feel at your core that sense of you're not full. Like you've momentarily satisfied yourself, but there's a hunger there, Ekarni, deep within, a feeling that you'll never really be full.
All right, well, I pop one of the berries and see what that does for me.
Oh, it hits the spot, but you're not full. You could eat more, definitely.
No.
Do
Pop another
I? I
Could
see
eat
these
more.
good berries.
Yeah, Boulder, you see good berries. Yervith, what do they look
I
like?
see these berries.
I imagine that they are. I was gonna say they're like the classic, like red, shiny, sort of like these
Little cherry
immaculate. Yeah, they're like these immaculate dark red little cherries that look like they're like perfectly made. Like think like, you know how the Japanese are really into like making really good fruit.
Yeah.
It's like super expensive.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yep.
It's exactly like that. And it's like this could be like $100 a cherry.
Oh
Like,
my god,
they
Boulder, that's
are-
what you see.
He just sees that they're balls of food and grabs one, and he has like a big sigh because I imagine he's feeling exhausted, and just like chucks it into his mouth.
Yep,
So,
you eat
I
it,
imagine
and
something-
as you consume it, you get a hit point back, and yeah, I mean, it feels nourishing. You feel not a sense of fullness, but a sense of satisfaction from eating this. It contains enough nourishment for a full day's worth of food. You feel better.
Is it a hit
The
per berry?
mountains.
It's
Hit point
one
per berry.
Per berry, yep.
Okay.
I think you're up to 3 now.
I imagine Boldor is exhausted or something like that because he raged 4 times.
You rage 4 times.
we're
I will give you a point of exhaustion, definitely. Thank you for reminding me. I did mean to give that to you last session.
The berries will make you feel nourished, but they won't take away.
I won't take away exhaustion.
Okie dokie. Nothing else there.
How many does Ekarni take?
I probably left it at the 3. Well, once I realized they weren't getting me any closer to feeling satisfied.
You've hit like a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have dessert, but
Yeah.
probably don't need it.
That's a
I
lot of
will-
food you've just eaten, Ekarni, in a short
That is
space of
awesome.
time. I just want to see. I'm gonna. Can you roll me a D100? I just want to see if the next step of the thing takes into effect, because you now have started to fulfill a couple of other requirements for other things to happen with this build. 52. Yes, things do happen.
Right.
The horns and sort of scaly sections of armor on Ekarni grow a little bit thicker, a little bit more jagged. You watch as Ekarni's horns get slightly more spiked as sections of the keratin pushes up, and you get these tiny little spikes all the way up it. Same with your claws, Ekarni. They get just that little bit sharper. Your teeth as well. You feel this sort of like moment of discomfort, and your teeth just feel that much sharper. As you test them with your tongue, you nick your tongue ever so slightly. Pull it back inside your mouth.
Is there any emotional or mental change that goes along with
No,
this?
just physical.
I show my claw to Boldor. This is getting a bit weird.
Do you think it would help you fight? It's much sharper now.
You're not wrong there, Boldor.
Could be good.
Can't hurt. Yeah. How do the horns look?
Give it a turning around in the light. It's like definitely sharper. I like it.
Well done.
Nice.
Okay, so we need to head north.
Yeah, I show everyone the map, and yeah, it seems like there's what should be one straight tunnel from here to the council chamber.
I'm happy to lead, Ekarni, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I hand the map over to you. Yeah, you're definitely more suited to working out the way to get somewhere and.
Yep.
Just like you're definitely the one to explain things and describe them in an eloquent way, Ekarni.
Known for my advanced eloquence.
Yeah, you can see the pathway curves around towards the east and then curves north.
Well, are we all ready? Shall we go? Okay.
Let's go get him.
Let's go.
Alrighty.
Eleanor, come.
Eleanor runs up to you, begins keeping pace. As you guys head up towards the north, you can see the pathway continues and curves a little bit round towards the left, towards the west. And as you get towards, sort of walking for about 15, 20 minutes, I'll move you guys up to there, you can hear the sound of roaring water from in front, the sound of water pouring in front or moving off, almost like a fountain or a waterfall in front of you. And as you come around the corner, you can see the pathway actually ends at a sheer face of water pouring in front. Through the water, you can see the ripples and the very skewed, blurry sight of what looks to be a massive building made of white marble in front of you. Below you at the bottom, you can see about 10 feet down is a pool of water, a dark pool of water, and around it are arranged numerous plants in what looks to be some sort of decorative garden. It looks like this tunnel actually opens up to the gardens inside the council chambers.
Oh shit.
Like internal gardens?
Internal gardens inside the main courtyard. As you have a bit of a look around, you can see shadows moving of dragons as they move across from different locations, one to the other, and you can also see the reflective glints every so often of what look to be armoured figures. But from where you are, you get the sense that you are impossible to see. A dark corridor behind a flowing stream of water.
Wow.
Jin sort of walks up and has a bit of a look through the edge of the waterfall, sort of poking his head around the sides. Looks like there's a bit of a garden here that we might be able to try and sneak through.
Sounds good to me.
A small ledge just up this way towards the north that we can try and scoot along. Might be a little bit slippery, but if we make it across, we'll be in amongst the foliage and hopefully avoid being spotted.
Before we get too close to the council chambers, I don't know about you guys, but I could maybe do with a quick 5 to a couple of minutes rest. Maybe a quick spot of lunch or something.
I could get around that for
Took
sure.
a couple of hits there.
I think we could take a quick break here. We seem to be fairly safe behind this waterfall.
Perhaps I could watch how the guards through the waterfall get an idea of their patterns or their movements. Perhaps that'll help us. While we wait, of course.
Fine by me.
Okay.
Alrighty. You guys can all take a short rest.
Sure.
Roll hit dice if you want.
Hell yeah.
I'll give Jin his Warlock spell slots back while I am here.
Necessary.
Where
I'll just
are my hit
give him
dice hiding?
his- How much damage did Jin take last session? I think he took a little bit.
Yeah,
No.
a little bit.
He's fine. I'll
Oh.
give him his spell slots back. Maybe he's already given himself a short rest. There we go. He's got his spell slots back now.
Just rolling a couple of hit dice. Declaring 4. 2 warlocks and 2 sorcerers.
Okay, I just rolled a 3. Amazing.
Nice.
I tried to do more than one at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do them one at a time, and that way you can then pick how many you want to roll. I'm always happy for people to roll one at a time.
Alright, cool.
That doesn't worry
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I'll take that.
As you guys take a bit of a break, Yervith, sitting there with Eleanor, sort of thinking through what you've been through in the last few moments, taking a moment to sort of sit with her. You're looking out, trying to look for the patrol routes and things like that?
Yeah, just keeping an eye on the guards that we're gonna have to like hide from in like a moment's time. So I'm just trying to get an idea of their movements, any sort of like. I probably can't overhear any sort of noises or anything coming from the garden, but I'd just be studying their movements, getting a feel for
absolutely
guard patrols. Yeah.
Could I have a perception or investigation check, please? Your choice.
Definitely perception check.
I thought so. 25. The patrol repeats after what looks to be a 15-minute route. You can see that guards are constantly sort of moving around. You get the sense that they're working on a very tight, much lower battalion than they might normally be used to. As you're looking through, you can see that guards are working in groups of 2, but occasionally there'll be a lone guard coming through the same route, doing the same things. You get the sense that probably there's not many people here guarding the council chambers right now. Given how many troops you saw in the city ransacking villas and places like that, you get the sense that maybe the council chambers is actually fairly unguarded.
Out of curiosity, are the guards wearing similar colors to the guards that stormed the villa? Are they...
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
So the guards who were sent to storm the villa were the Capital Guard, were the Draconic Guard.
Yep.
Dressed in very fine armor. Ekarni, you would know that these are very dangerous fighters. The Draconic Guard are trained from a very young age. They're taken from families. It's a bit fucked, but the dragons actually breed Dragonborn. Some Dragonborn are specifically paired and partnered with each other to have as many children as possible that are immediately put into the Draconic Guard, and they are bred for strength and combat prowess and shall we say a reluctance to ask questions, a ability to follow orders. So they're not bred for intelligence.
I relay all of that to the group and say, this is one of the things
I'm fighting against. Yeah.
This is barbaric.
Yeah.
That certainly is.
But this is a skeleton crew, Yervith, as you point out, the guards and the changing of the guards to Ekarni. Ekarni, you know that normally Draconic Guard are in battalions of 5, that there are even lone guards, let alone guards walking around in pairs. There are very few people guarding this. There's a whole 20-minute gap where no guard is present and the courtyard is completely clear before a guard runs in, armor clanking, weapon sort of pushing against his hip as he runs in, has a brief look, and then runs off in a different direction, leaving the area completely unguarded once again for another 10-15 minutes before the next group comes through of 2 guards.
Does that kind of anti-punctuality, there goes the eloquence again, strike me as like...
highly unusual.
Yeah, would that suggest to me that perhaps that's not a real Draconic Guard soldier?
Oh, maybe. That is one possible explanation. The other is that they are just so overworked right now and they have to guard this entire palace, and with maybe, you reckon, as you're looking through and it repeats, because a short rest is an hour, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you just have a repeat of the guard by the time you guys are finished. It looks like maybe you only see 12 different individuals this whole time. You get the sense that there's very few people guarding. Potentially Ekarni. You do get the sense that that is highly unusual and highly unexpected. Whether or not it's a byproduct of how badly guarded the capital is right now, maybe it's a guard who is going against protocol. Maybe it's not a guard. Maybe this is someone infiltrating. You're not sure. That is an option.
Ooh.
Hey Jin, do you happen to have any costumes that look like those or something similar?
I don't have anything that looks identical. I haven't stolen any Draconic Guard outfits, but I do have some armor that I've used to infiltrate places before. I think we could use some robes and kind of put them around a bit, and I could make it look similar.
Well, we could maybe do that if we need to later on.
Maybe Ekarni and I could walk in pretending to be another rotation of the guard.
Oh.
Well, we do have that armor from that fellow that we took care of before. I think Ekarni could be a
plate
good
mail.
fit.
Yes, we have some plate mail that we robbed off a member of the cult, Gold Dragonborn.
Actually, Ekarni, I was wondering if you knew what this was. I picked it off him, and I'm going to show Ekarni the platinum glyph that I got off the guy.
Yes. Ekarni, he holds out a platinum sigil, a platinum glyph, a disc of platinum with a symbol marked in it. It is the symbolic draconic symbol for champion. The person who wore this, is a pit fighter, someone who fought in the draconic pits for the entertainment of dragons and other dragonborn. To have a platinum glyph means he has bested over 100 other combatants.
I said, like, what? Did you kill the man who held this?
Yes. I slit his throat.
I look slightly terrified of you.
Well, he was a danger to us.
I imagine a man bearing this sigil would be a danger to anyone he wanted to be a danger to. This is a champion pit fighter's medallion.
Oh. Oh. That's unfortunate. He fought for a living.
Yes, he fought with honor, didn't he, Yervith? And did you fight with honor? Says Jin.
Do I look like someone who fights with honor?
I fight to survive.
No, I was going to say that.
I fight to live!
Yes, he did challenge us to one-on-one combat, and we decided against that. We thought that was silly.
Yes, look, in the interest of you all being alive, I suspect not fighting him one-on-one was a good decision.
I mean, given the situation, I wasn't feeling my best, and someone decided to throw a fireball into the room that I was in. Not once, but twice. And then I had to stare down that champion one-on-one. Forget it. It was a quick, painless death. Although he did rattle on a little bit, which was a bit surprising considering I thought I cut his jugular. But anyway, just a full credit to the man, to the Dragonborn that he was.
I believe he went as you slit his throat.
Yeah, something like that.
brief lore point. Would the pit fighter and in particular the champions be someone of great respect, or are they more kind of like something that Ekarni would?
That's up to Ekarni.
Consider more of an artifact of dragon cruelty.
Yeah, look, that's entirely up to Ekarni. You know that the pit fights are a way of essentially kind of literally old Roman bread and circuses, right? Like, give the people the circus, they want blood sport, let them watch their blood sport so they don't actually have a violent uprising. Yeah, you get the sense that... Right. I would let me rephrase. It is entirely up to Ekarni what you think of this, but I would say that Ekarni would know that a lot of people watch the pit fighting. It is mostly for the entertainment of the dragons. The Dragonborn are allowed to watch. Mostly the lower ring are invited to watch, and it's kind of presented as a way out. If you can survive 50, I think it's, sorry, let me rephrase, I'll find it. If you survive 10 bouts, if you defeat 10 champions, you get a bronze sigil. That entitles you and your family to a certain stipend of money. If you get to 50, you get a silver. If you get to 75, you get a gold. And then if you get to 100, you get the platinum. And the platinum allows you access to the upper city. The rewards go up as you go up. But, I mean, Ekarni, in your entire history, you maybe know one or two Dragonborn who've ever got the platinum.
Right.
It would be a position of, like, that is a respectable thing. Yeah, that's...
Right. Okay, so even Ekarni with my general democracy / communist bent that he's picked up would respect a platinum champion.
I mean, he's supposed to die for the entertainment of the dragons. He did not. So there is a part of you that's like, he fought the battle in his own way.
I just wish he'd been on the other side. He sided with Tiamat. He was an enemy.
Yes, he was with the cult, and we saw him abusing a member of the Equalists, didn't we? A silver Dragonborn.
Oh, what was his name again? He ran off with Mira and Lockie. I can't remember what it was. He was poor fella. Actually, can't remember his name. What was his name?
That's a shame.
I'll tell you. Did I write it down? Oh, Scythus.
You did. Scythus, nice.
Hey, there it is.
Would I know Scythus?
Yeah, as he says the name Scythus, you're like, yeah, that is one of the main leaders of the Equalists who allowed the cult access and is responsible for the corruption of your organization.
But it's not my boy.
No,
not
Scythus,
your boy at all.
Scythus was... You're experiencing Scythus. He's a bit of a worm. Was always in a position of power underneath people of power and rose ranks riding other people's success. Like he would attach himself like a parasite to people. This is your subconscious. I'm describing how Ekarni would see it. He attached himself like a parasite to people of actual skill and talent, rose through the ranks, and then delighted in pretending or appearing to be impressive himself.
I can see why this man might have abused Scythus.
Oh. Well, it's all starting to make a little bit more sense.
I hope
now.
you didn't leave anyone of importance with Scythus. That dragon cannot be trusted. If I could even call him that.
Two of our closest friends, Mira and Lockie, went with him to find other members of the Equalists, says Jin.
Well, I doubt Scythus will be taking them to any Equalists of value, given he knows none and brought none into the fold.
Wow.
It's at this point you guys are really wishing you'd rolled an insight check.
Did Scythus knowingly bring the children of Tiamat in? Or was that kind of an accident and he just sucks?
You don't know for sure. But I would say, Ekarni, like your experience with Scythus, it could be one or the other, but balance of probability, given the success of the cultists taking over and allowing the children of Tiamat to form. Clearly he did not have a hand in that deliberately, because anything he touches turns to like disappointment and shit. So probably your mind falls the other, like he just wasn't clever enough to see through this cult, got caught up in the propaganda, and then just...
Well, in any case, it's out of our hands now. Now, I think if we time this right, we should be able to get into the garden undetected. We've got about 15-20 minute window if we're lucky.
Yeah, that's plenty. And
Do you
honestly,
have
very strange.
Do
you have any more pass without a trace available?
No. It's been a big day for Yervith.
We're seeing if maybe it would be lucky.
I would say, given how long you've spent in the tunnels and the time of day it was before, it is now getting to mid to late afternoon. If you wanted to wait until night to try and infiltrate the council chambers, it would not be out of place for you to take a long rest.
Ooh,
I wouldn't say no to that.
That's pretty tempting.
However,
Yeah.
I will add, you know that the Council of Five have been poisoned.
Yeah, that's the other
You
thing.
know that things shift. And for those of you who've played with me before, I have
You have
real
time.
world timers going for things, and it will... The time you spend on things can affect other things in place.
As
Just so you
much
know.
as it's tempting, as much as it is tempting to take a long rest, I know that Elia is caught up in this, and I really don't want anything bad to happen to Elia, because, yeah, she's very helpful. Yervith kind of hums and haws about that and goes, I don't think we can wait here much more longer. The council are in trouble. Elia is accused of God knows. If we don't act now, we'll lose our window of opportunity. I can feel it.
Stood.
Well, shall Ekarni and I disguise ourselves as Draconic Guard and have you be our prisoners in case anything happens? So if we're caught or busted, we can pretend we're escorting you to the jail.
I think that's a safe bet.
That's what
Do
Jim
we
would say, I
have
think.
any rope? Well, I have rope. Any more?
I've got some rope.
Yeah.
I have some manacles actually, as Jin pulls them out of the bag of holding. Pretty sure he does.
Of
Yeah,
course.
he
I'm pretty
does.
sure he's being. I'm pretty sure he does from memory.
He does. Can Shana use silent image to make herself look like a dragonborn as well?
Yeah.
So the one snake person in the entire city might be a bit obvious.
That's fair. Yes, he's got 2 sets of manacles. Yes, I could manacle 2 of you. I'd like to be manacled.
As Yervith will probably say, like, "Oh yes, I'll be manacled." He's going to look. He's going to get into his thieves' tools and grab a couple of lockpicks and just strategically place them on his person, just in case he needs to unpick the manacle.
As Jin puts them on, he does not lock them because that would be
okay.
That would be potentially disastrous. He just closes them.
Cool. I wasn't sure like how.
I don't think Jin would lock them. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't do that then. I'll just take them. Yeah, cool.
Hold up the hands out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Shana is disguising herself as a Dragonborn. Ekarni does not need to. He is a Dragonborn, but Jin pulls out of the bag of holding fragments of the armor. So the Draconic Guard don't wear full plate. So what he does is he takes some of the plate mail from the bag of holding, specifically the breastplate, the pauldrons, I think, are the shoulder pads. If my armor knowledge is correct, and then the greaves, and presents them to Ekarni. Ekarni, your armor that you're already wearing actually kind of does the job anyway for most of it, but he gives you some extra pieces of armor to try and like boost it up. He takes the remainder armor, puts it on himself after transforming into a Dragonborn form. He's going to make himself Vladislav again. Vladislav was an Eastern European. He wasn't a Dragonborn.
I think he's still Vladislav.
He is still Vladislav.
He still is. Yeah. I can't remember what his Dragonborn noble persona was.
Shenron. There was a green Dragonborn with some like orange birthmarks on his forehead,
that was the
orange
full
scales.
Winged honored one, wasn't it? It wasn't quite.
Yeah.
What a Draconic
He's
Guard
not
would
gonna.
be.
Yeah, he's not gonna go full winged Dragonborn for this one. He just takes on a green nondescript Dragonborn. All right, I'm going to roll a disguise kit check for Jin. Yes, sorry, Boldor?
I was going to try and grab a disguise kit from Jin because I've been hanging around with these folk for a very long time and they know who I am. So if I could get a robe or some sort of mustache perhaps, or hair, a wig. There's nothing here.
Probably your tattoos would be one of the more defining traits about you, Boldor. Jin has makeup that he can use to like cover your tattoos a little bit. That's not a bad idea. That's a really good call. I'll roll for that too. Alrighty, we'll do a roll. We'll do it as a deception check. There you go, you should see that. 13 for Jin. Okay, so not amazing, but not bad either. Although, I mean, he can't change the fact that you're a Goliath, but he does use the grey paint to grey out some of your more obvious head tattoos, gives you some robes to put over the top of what you're wearing to kind of hide more the rest of your body and your armor, and tuck your great axe underneath part of the hood so that it just looks like the hood is sort of over a bit of a hunchback maybe.
Great.
Yep. For Ekarni and himself, I mean, from a distance, it looks like you could be members of the Draconic Guard, but again, like the clothing isn't right. It doesn't have any of the sigils, any of the markings of the Draconic Guard. It doesn't have any of the sigilry. It's more just armor with some cloth that, from a distance, might look like members of the Draconic Guard. I mean, he does his best, but he's trying to assemble a uniform here out of mismatched parts and bits of cloth. He does his best.
Just a suggestion, based on the armor pieces that we do have, rather than claiming that we're part of the Council Guard, would it be reasonable to sort of say that maybe we're part of a civilian militia? Dragonborn that support the cause,
Inside
maybe
the council chambers.
We chased them down here.
Direction, I don't know.
Ekarni, I don't know if that would fly. Aren't you quite hierarchical in this society? I mean, I don't know what the new society is, I guess.
Look, a civilian militia would have been stopped a few rings of the city ago, I imagine, before getting into the council chamber.
Yeah, although at the moment, Ekarni, all rules seem to be out. Like, the children of Tiamat have taken control. Might work, you don't know. Could.
Yeah.
I mean, the city's in chaos. It's possible.
I think it's more plausible, and we are actually part of the regular armory.
Maybe our first port of call should be the armory then, to try and get some some outfits. Maybe we can try and find some uniforms prepared.
Do you know where the armory is, Ekarni? Have you been to the Citadel before?
I don't think Ekarni probably would have, actually.
No, Ekarni, you wouldn't have been inside the Citadel before. You know where some of the barracks are within the city, but not in the Citadel itself.
Does the Citadel have really good wayfinding?
Tourist maps.
Tourist maps.
Let me put it this way.
Lines in the hospital, or it takes you to the.
Let me put it this way. It's big enough for dragons to take off and fly in and out. There's a whole upper balcony where dragons can come in and fly out. The hallways are big enough for dragons to walk in their draconic form, let alone their human form. The place is huge. It's massive.
Sick. All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, good wayfinding. I mean, just saying, in this Citadel would be not a miss.
Yep.
Excellent.
This map, does it just lead us to the front, or is there more information?
It looks like the map kind of ends here. You can see the scribbled area around the waterfall. Citadel entrance, don't get caught.
Okay, yeah.
So
we shouldn't get caught.
I can't help but agree.
Not an inaccurate or unfair statement.
I mean, I could stealth ahead and see if I can see anything.
I think maybe if we're going to be heading in disguised and with manacles, I think maybe we should stick to that disguise with manacles and maybe not split up. But we can all try stealthing at first, and if we're spotted, we'll say that we captured you and we're just trying to get you to the cells.
Yeah, at the very least,
Sounds
you have
good.
a 15-minute window to get through with just regular movement.
It looks like the last guard is leaving right now, actually. Maybe now's the time to go?
Yep. Let's go.
Right.
Breach.
Alrighty.
Go.
Can I have stealth checks from all of you, please?
Hell yeah.
I'll roll for Jin.
Could you not?
23 for Jin. Not bad. 31 for Yervith.
It's pretty good.
Disadvantage. 7 for Boldor.
Ooh,
As Boldor walks, like the manacles go clink, clink, clink.
How's that for disadvantage?
17 and 18 for Ekarni, which means we're taking the 17. Alrighty, so yeah, Yervith 31, Jin 23, Shana 24, Boldor 7, Ekarni 17. As a group, we're taking a group average for this one. As a group, I'm pretty sure that comes out to about 21, 22, if my math is correct, averaging up all those results. So still pretty good. Even though Boldor is quite loud, Yervith, you're next to him because both of you are together as prisoners. Ekarni and Jin are in front, Shana's at the back, sort of trying to look like a group, moving these prisoners where they need to go. Yervith, you kind of like whisper instructions to Boldor, like, no, don't step there, that's a stick. Okay, yeah, a little bit that way. Giving Boldor a bit of a hand with stealth. Crunchy leaf. As you guys move through the bushes on the side and begin to get to the edge, you can see that the large open area before you, this massive courtyard, is easily 120 feet wide by maybe 200 feet long. It is huge. Wow. Rows of gardens made of pristine white marble bordering are set up, and you can see there's all different types of flora that's been arranged here. All of it very desert-like, very desert flora, with the occasional tree as well. Not as beautiful as Elia's gardens, not as well cared for, but overall, the size and scale of them is staggering, probably more impressive on that front. As you guys scoot through the foliage and then emerge at the end of the flower bed, duck down and push behind some cactuses, you can see the guard walking away, the lone guard walking back towards another post. For the last sort of 15, 20 minutes, there's not been any dragons moving around this open council area. And that luck holds true as you begin moving across. As you reach the far side and behind another section of garden beds, you can see there are massive marble steps leading up to the first floor, to a higher floor above that looks like the entrance to some sort of living quarters. Down towards the right is a massive set of steps leading down into the darkness that curve and twist below, torchlight flickering on two sconces on either side of this entryway and then flickering up from underneath from the pathway beyond. You can also see a number of large open doors leading to various other levels on this ground floor. As you guys are holding position getting ready to go, just as you go to take a step, sound of wing beats. come down from above. And you watch as a massive black dragon, missing its front left foot, descends and lands in the courtyard. About 50, 60 feet away from you. You can see as it begins moving towards the entryway to the ground floor, this massive open doorway. And it roars a challenge through. Open the gates! Give me access to the chambers now. The doors with a grinding thud. Excuse me, that voice is hard to do. The doors with a grinding thud and scrape at the far end of the courtyard, away from you guys, the opposite end to you, begin pulling back, revealing a massive open stone area. This looks like the council hall. But there are no council of 5, no 5 dragons seated at these daises arranged around in a circle. Instead, you can see various other dragons, most of them looking either scarred or scrawny or otherwise damaged, some of them with brands in Draconic on their face. Traitor, murderer, thief, sitting in the positions of council members. One of them, a large black dragon, much smaller than the huge one with the missing paw, is busy slowly dismantling stone by stone the dais where once another dragon stood, one of the members of the council. The large black dragon pushes on through, his tail whipping back and slamming one of the Dragonborn who pushed the door open for him into the wall. With a sickening crack, his head cracks against the stone and he drops to the floor lifeless. The other Dragonborn who'd pushed open the door, like, this look of shock and horror comes on his face, and he runs over to check his comrade. As he moves across the stone steps, the black dragon, missing its front left leg, turns. Get back to your post, worthless maggot. Dragonborn freezes, moves back, begins slowly closing the door. And the other one. As the Dragonborn moves over, stepping over the body of his comrade, begins closing the other door. With a loud thud, the 2 doors close, blocking view of these large dragons inside the council chamber, and of the havoc that they appear to be wreaking upon this world. Only 40, 50 feet away, you can see the tunnel heading downwards, the stone steps. There appear to be no guards at this exact moment. No more wing beats, no more noise. Jin, whose scales have gone a bit pale from fear, looks at you guys and goes, Now? Do we go? Now. You guys run hastily across the courtyard, Boldor sort of jangling his manacles as he moves. Yervith reaching over and grabbing and being like, shut up!
I feel like I'm holding it like to stop it from jangling.
As you guys reach the edge of the tunnel heading down, the steps heading down, you can hear the sounds of chains clinking far below. But probably the fear of what is on this upper level drives you forwards, and you push down forward into the dark. The stone steps lead down for about 40 or so steps before turning around and then curving back the way you came, back underneath the main council chambers. Large enough to allow certainly a young dragon, possibly even an adult dragon, to squeeze through. This massive stone corridor with these steps heading down just dwarfs you. Each of the steps is designed for a dragon. You have to drop. You're running and then dropping, running and then dropping. You're not stepping down these steps. They are massive.
Oh, my knees.
Actually, I would say towards the sides, there are smaller steps, actually, for Dragonborn to move up and down. That's a good point, because how would they get up? So as you come down the first few in the main section, you're like, this is ridiculous. Oh, my knees. And then you look over and see the side steps. Like, yeah, there's Dragonborn steps as well. Move over to those and begin running down properly. As you get down to the lower section, you can see rows upon rows of cells. Standing in the middle is a young white dragon, pacing along, hissing at whoever or whatever is in these cells, occasionally breathing frost at any sign of claw or tail that pokes through the bars, hearing yelps of the victims of this frost breath. The white dragon paces up and down, almost very cat-like as it observes its prey. Not so high and mighty. Oh, sorry, no, you go. Yeah. How far away? The stairs go down for another sort of 20, 30 feet and then open up into this large prison chamber. The white dragon is currently about 120, 130 feet away from you, pacing away from you as it's moving down along the cells. The room itself continues for 200 feet, the same width as the courtyard. So it looks like the prison cells are directly underneath the courtyard above. As the white dragon paces... What was that, sorry?
Are there any guards keeping an eye on her at all?
Just this white dragon moving up and down the corridor. You think this is the guard. There's white dragon pacing up and down. As it peers into the cells, you can hear it sort of hissing quite loudly, loud enough for you guys to hear in Draconic.
Not so high and mighty now, are you? Banished my father to the wastes, cursed my mother a traitor. Yet here I am, and you are behind bars, just as it should be. Your life ebbing away. Soon Tiamat shall return, and you will know what folly you had in your terrible leadership of our people, keeping us weak, keeping us soft. We don't need you anymore, Council of Five. Bah! Council of Fools.
As it spits ice at the wall.
We're killing this guy, right?
It depends if we think that it'll alert anyone else.
Should we fungus him?
Shana holds up the jar.
Should we save the fungus for the black guy upstairs?
Save it for the black guy, I reckon.
I mean, we can release the fungus here, and then we can utilize the splinter and perhaps splinter the target.
Shana, we should probably not release the fungus here while the prisoners are still here, because we don't want to fungus the council members as well.
And ourselves.
That seems counterproductive.
I suppose.
All right.
So is this like a just a walkway beginning down? Is there any way to like hide on either side?
Oh, you guys can easily duck into the cells. I mean, the bars are designed to keep dragons in place. There's a few smaller cells for Dragonborn, which you'll not be able to move and duck into. But the first 8 cells, as you go down this corridor, are designed to keep dragons contained. There are massive gaps between the bars you could easily just walk through.
Easy, okay.
What's in these cells?
At the moment, you guys are still at the top of the landing. You haven't come down into the room yet, but as you look, you can see hunched shapes, large draconic forms curled up, or lying down, most of them on the stone floor, wings tucked in around them.
Okay. From what those guys said, I think the council's down here, and I think it's in our best interest to get them out.
Yeah, I think if we aim to maybe stealthily release the prisoners first, rather than engaging the single guard, we would have the advantage of numbers.
They are poisoned, though, so they may not be in much of a fit state to fight for us.
Good point. I was hoping a dragon would be a dragon, but yeah, no, I think you're right.
True, I mean, you're not even a poison dragon is still a dragon.
I mean, that's a good point you raise, Ekarni. Their breath weapons would easily go through ours.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're not using their breath weapon to set this young piece of shit alight, to burn it or to destroy it. It's taunting them. It's breathing ice at them. It's very unusual.
Size-wise, how does it fare to that green dragon we saw?
Smaller. Yeah, definitely smaller. This looks like a young dragon.
We killed that thing fine.
Thank goodness it wasn't heavily weakened by a parasitic fungus that was eating away its flesh.
Good thing we can heavily weaken things with parasitic fungus.
It's true. It's true.
We shouldn't go the nuclear option just yet. Is there any sort of I mean, Yervith is probably not the most magically inclined, but because they're not using their breath weapons, is there some sort of magic-y thing, like any sort of inscriptions or anything obvious in the room that might be causing it? Any breath weapon field?
Well, I mean, no, that's a good question, Yervith. As you're sort of thinking that, you're kind of trying to think, how would that work? Yeah. Maybe the bars are warded, so only things can go through one way. That is possible.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful enchantment to have a one-way ward, and that means that if you guys were to walk into these cells, you would be stuck in them. You wouldn't be able to just walk out again.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
that is something to consider. The other thing to consider as well is that there's other ways to stop dragons being able to use their breath weapons. For example, dragons that are exhausted or otherwise incapacitated, you know that dragons can use their breath weapon, and then when they have built up their strength, can then use it again. If you were able to keep their strength sapped, this is instinctual knowledge that comes to you through your bond with Eleanor and through your talks with Elia.
Elia, yep.
Mm.
Right.
How many good berries can you make?
not enough.
I'm going to need to make a good orchard for this one. Eat up. Yeah.
That checks out, actually.
If only you had some great berries. Good berries are fine, but you need some great berries. Or some excellent berries.
Excellent berries, yeah.
Excellent berries. I just love the name good berry.
Yervith was probably also wondering, like, why can't they just... Oh, who did we lose? We lost Tom.
Yeah.
I was just like,
He'll be back.
why can't they just summon like change into like their humanoid forms and just walk out? But if they're weakened, that makes sense. So yeah.
And actually something else, Ekarni, you would know that not all dragons can transform into humanoid forms, and actually the older dragons get, the harder it is for them to do that in this homebrew world. The older they get, the more locked into their forms they become.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, not every dragon can do it, and the older they get, the ones that can do it, the harder it becomes for them to do it.
Gotcha.
Ekarni would know that.
So, do we just brush the dragon?
Yeah, do we just gank this guy? Says Jin. I mean, I've got a shank. It's a prison.
Shank him.
Before we do this, I'm assuming like this is all taking place in a spot where we can't
You're up on
be
the landing.
seen
You're up on
and
the landing.
Can't be like overhead.
You're up on the landing.
Yeah. And it's all stage whispers. We're not.
Yeah.
I hate to be the voice of reason, but is this actually a good idea to start a fight in the middle of this prison when we have no idea what is further into the prison, and there's a council of dragons above us, of villain dragons, including the one-legged giant black dragon that kills people for sport.
Actually,
Does have one
Ekarni,
less leg, though.
now that you've seen him, I'm going to let you roll another history check to see if you know that dragon's name. Because from the description, you might not have known it. But I'm happy to let you... no, you've got no idea. You've got three. You're just like, old one leg. No, 3 leg. He's got 3 legs.
Roughly 3/4 of the dragon, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at Shana and I'm like,
I mean, Ekarni, he's almost bipedal. I mean,
He's a dragonborn, right?
he's tripedal right now. Yeah.
Oh.
He's tripedal.
Oh.
You can take him.
Get that shit out of there.
The dragon equivalent of that Mr. Bean car.
Yeah. A Reliant Robin is the car. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, yes,
yeah,
Yervith.
no. Yervith looks at Shana and goes, yeah, we don't know. There may actually be some actual criminals in the jail.
Should we try and distract him? I could use some dancing lights to or some hypnotic patterns to incapacitate the white dragon. I could give that a go. Says Jin.
I think it would be the smarter idea.
To try and distract and see if we can take the non-aggressive tact. That's what I learned from Mira anyway. Trying not to kill everything that I see.
Or perhaps we could try and convince him he's needed upstairs and that we will guard. Ekarni and I could try and talk him into thinking he's required for something important. We could stand watch.
Do we know that black dragon's name by any chance?
No,
I don't remember it personally, but
no, we don't know it.
Oh, you should tell them. You should tell them that you're coming to take us into the jail cell. That's why we're here.
Oh, that could be how we. Yes.
But then once we then stick you in a jail cell,
then we tell him he's needed somewhere more urgently. Maybe we don't even put them in the jail cell. Maybe we just. That's why we're here. We've been sent to put these prisoners away and tell him that he's needed elsewhere urgently.
That's right. I like what you say.
Play
Makes sense.
devil's advocate, but so the bunch of us, not a dragon amongst us, only a dragonborn, which actual dragons see, unfortunately, as
2
lesser.
Dragonborns. 2 Dragonborns.
Or 3 if you include, but even a young dragon isn't going to leave the guard, the head guard position to a bunch of lowly dragonborn. I mean,
unless there's something in it for him,
the
right?
Lord Black Dragon above ordered it. He seems like anyone would listen to him. We just don't know his name.
I mean, I would be pretty scared if that thing was after me and wanted my attention. I'd probably leave my post as well.
do we say that he wants some ice in his drink? I mean, how do we convince
He
him?
needs him urgently. But I mean, my Lord Black Dragon is not really going to cut it, I don't think.
The other thing I think we should keep in mind as well is that we kind of want to send him a bit further away than just upstairs. That doesn't give us a huge amount of time to get the council members out. Maybe if he was needed somewhere at the edge of the city?
We also have the issue of if he stays within the Citadel and realizes he's not supposed to be here and we've tricked him, he's going to alert everyone in the Citadel.
Well, would he? Because that might be embarrassing for him.
Probably less embarrassing than all the council members escaping.
That's true.
Which he clearly doesn't like very much.
While they haven't been the most equitable leaders, they're definitely better than the children of Tiamat.
That's interesting coming from you. But of course,
Look, I
maybe
didn't necessarily want the council poisoned and killed. I
No,
just
that's
wanted
true.
better
That's-
representation.
Yeah. I mean, Ekarni wasn't asking for much. Let's be honest
No,
here.
that's true.
His list of demands was pretty reasonable.
That's pretty reasonable, yeah.
It's a tricky one. I don't know what to do here.
I reckon the hypnotic patterns seems like the best play. If he goes to sleep or is hypnotized, then we can go out and investigate what else is around.
Sleep. Sleep's a good spell. Does anyone have sleep? A really big sleep spell. Does Jin have sleep? I'll check and see if Jin has sleep. He might as a bard. No.
We do have another issue too. We don't have the cure-all yet. We can break them out, but they're still poisoned. So that's an issue.
That's a good point too.
We infect them with fungus and then command them like a puppeteer with the shard to achieve equality.
Oh dear.
I'm going to be completely honest. I have no
equality.
attention to these council members other than Elia. I mean, does anyone else have any objection to actually that plan?
Well, considering Elia's mother is on the council, I don't.
It's not particularly fond of her.
I mean, look, they have a strange relationship, but I would still not be super happy.
Shana, you know that they have a difference of opinion on a number of things. However much more you're adding in there, that's all coming from you.
What's the difference in opinions on fungus?
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't know?
I'm just thinking, do we have any better ideas? Quite frankly, it's a room full of full-size dragons.
Yeah, if they don't move, they're very hard. They're very difficult to get out of there, aren't they?
Look, we can try to convince her to get out of the city. Maybe that's our best play.
They're so doomed.
We spotted Tiamat outside the city. Go pay your honors.
Go worship her.
She desperately requested this.
Yeah. Specifically you. She wanted white worship. Go.
Yeah.
White dragon worship her.
Is there a door to this place?
No. Dragonborns don't... I should say this now. You have not seen many doors in Veloxur. Mostly curtains and cloth. Not many doors. Mostly open.
Warm.
Yeah, it's very Mediterranean in that sense. Very actually more Turkish than anything else. So not a lot of wooden doors, mostly curtains and cloth coverings for windows and doors.
How an opening is huge, right? It's
Big enough for an adult dragon to walk through. It's pretty big. You can like mold earth, close it in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, we shut it off. You can't get anywhere.
You'd be here for a
Down there
while.
with this torturous white dragon. Look, at the end of the day, that dragon is torturing living beings, and I'm not stoked on that,
Yeah.
council members or otherwise.
Look, let's just do her in.
Yep, hypnotic pattern, go back her in the
So,
head.
just so you know, hypnotic pattern will last for 1 minute if it works.
Yep. If it doesn't,
Or they'll be alerted and they'll attack us.
axe.
Yeah.
And
And
guys-
there could just be one roar, and then everyone else runs down to where the roar is.
Did the passageway seem big enough for old three-leg to get down?
Ooh. Ekarni? You don't think so.
Oh, we're
Hey,
fine.
we're trapped. Maybe we're trapped down here at the end, but a long mold earth session, and eventually we'll be out. Just Shawshank our way out, and we'll be good to go.
If it,
Alcatraz our way out.
Yeah.
Scale shank in
Yeah.
D&D.
okay, if we're going to attack this dragon, can Shana do a cheeky grease cast on the stairs heading down to us in case someone comes so they
that's pretty
just
good.
all fall down the stairs?
Yeah.
Comedically. Whoa!
That's very good. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's you could grease the stairs. Of course you could.
Yep. She's gonna if it looks like we're gonna attack them, she's gonna grease the stairs.
Can
Okay.
we grease just most of it and leave one side?
You could
bit
grease
after
the center bit with the dragon. So just keep in mind how much can you grease? I think it's 30-foot cube.
60-foot range, 10-foot cube.
10-foot cube. Okay, so you could grease a stair. One of the big dragon stairs, or a little bit of the little dragonborn stairs on either side.
Now, she looks like on the dragon stairs. She looks to see if anyone is particularly more worn than the other, like as if it indicates
The center.
that's typically the first stair that's stepped on with like full weight. Greases that one so that there's more of a chance of them just going like, Yoop.
Okay, can you roll me a D100, please, Shana? Just want to know this in advance.
Oh no.
Great.
Whoa.
61.
Dragons
Cool.
come.
Awesome. 61 dragons come.
61 dragons.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Awesome. Thank you, Shana. I'll keep that in mind. 61 is our D100 roll. Beautiful.
Fuck.
Jin sort of looks and goes, before we jump in and attack, I mean, there are some other cells further down. Do we want to at least have a bit of a look what we can see? Maybe stick to the shadows?
I think that might be wise. See what we're dealing with.
Yeah. No complaints.
Alrighty, I'll take your stealths from before. As you guys move down the Dragonborn stairway, the side, much smaller stairs on either side of the large, massive stairs designed for dragons and stuff, creeping down, you can see, rows upon rows of large cells designed to keep dragons in check. In each of the cells, as you come up to the edge of the bars and begin creeping through the shadows, you can see the white dragon down the end is taunting one dragon in particular, seems to be very focused. Creep down the edge of the bars and move past. It's hard to see inside the cells because they are shrouded in darkness, but as you pass, you can see what look to be very large, very old dragons in each one. On the side you pass, the right-hand side, you can see there is a large red dragon. Its scales so faded, they're almost a dull grey pink, dull grey red. These clouded eyes look up and turn towards you as you guys creep past, but the dragon says nothing and doesn't react at all, just nods and lowers its head back down. As you pass by the next cage, you can see what looks to be a silver dragon. Large, a little bit reminiscent of Elia to your eyes, Yervith, as you look through the same sort of patterns of scales and frills and fronds. And again, bit younger than the older dragon on the cage to its left, but you can see that eyes still looking a bit dull, looking a bit sick. The scales not gleaming with brilliant silver, but faded, almost a dull grey. As the dragon turns towards you guys and watches you walk past again, this large, ancient dragon says nothing. Simply allows you to pass without alerting the white dragon. Instead, it lifts up its claw, points down the corridor, which you are headed, and then gestures towards the right.
Ooh, okay.
Looks for a sign of recognition, a nod. Jin gives it a thumbs up. The dragon nods. Very lethargically, its head lowers back down towards the ground again. almost half asleep.
Is
You
that
pass-
direction towards the white dragon or away from the
Away
white
from
dragon?
the white dragon.
All right, let's go that
It's
way.
on the left-hand side. As you pass through, begin pushing down through the long row of corridors, you get up towards the back of the white dragon. The cell that you are passing through is empty, the door half open. Jin ducks behind one of the bars and stands still, hiding behind it, looking. Pokes his head out, head back in, head back out.
Yeah, this one's safe. I don't think we're locked in here. Quick, come, hide behind the bars with me.
Jin gets behind the bars and stands very still.
Is this where that dragon just directed us to go?
You're not 100% sure if this is where she directed you to go, but you're coming up to almost in line with the white dragon. You can see Jin's looking a bit nervous about getting too close to the white dragon, potentially nervous about walking
I thought you said
behind
the
it.
dragon gestured the other direction. All right, I was confused. Sorry.
No, all good. As you guys move in and stand behind the cells, you can see you can hear the white dragon very clearly taunting this massive gold dragon. Scales, again, this dull, faded, almost like fake gold, like pyrite color now. This sort of dull, done, tarnished gold. As the head raises, it looks towards the white dragon.
You have no idea what you're doing. Surprised you have the strength to speak. No matter. The poison should do its work soon enough. Sleep well, Elder, knowing that your dreams will be done, your hopes crushed, and your people worshipping the god you sought to discredit. Tiamat will rise again. Please, you have to listen.
And as he goes to say something more, the white dragon spits this glob of ice at him, freezing his maw shut as the head heavily drops towards the stone, unable to hold the weight of its own head and the ice as well. The gold dragon, this ancient gold dragon, its head crashes into the stone. You see pain flick across its eyes. The white dragon chuckles deep in its throat.
Brought so low.
And then begins stalking back towards the entrance, the way that you guys came. Jin, seeing it walk past you guys and down towards the front, looks and gestures rapidly and begins running stealthily towards the far end of the corridor and down towards a passageway to the right that comes into view as you begin running down.
Yep.
As you pass through into this passageway, you can see this is designed for Dragonborn. The passageway is only 8 feet high, about 4 feet wide. And here, down along this way, are rows and rows of cells containing what look to be Dragonborn. Most of them appear to be seated on the ground or lying on bunks, arranged and suspended. Ekarni, a number of these look to be fellow equalists, people who you haven't seen for a while, members of your fraternity, members who have been missing, presumed captured, presumed executed, some of them. And as you look, you can see that there are also other criminals here, maybe occasional criminals that you recognize, a large red dragonborn with a large scar down his face who tried to assassinate one of the blue dragon nobles of the city, not in the name of the equalists, in the name of wanting to take all of the blue dragon shit and rob him blind, but tried to assassinate a member of the nobility and was sentenced to execution, but is here in these cells.
I approach some of the fellow equalists. So, Doug?
Doug. That's his name now.
Doug.
Thank you for that. As you walk up, Daug.
I thought you were dead.
Daug looks at you.
Ekarni, is that you?
Yes.
He's rubbing his eyes. My eyes deceive me, and it's not possible.
No, we're here specifically to free you, and no other reasons. Where are the keys?
The keys, I have no idea. There hasn't been a jailer through here in almost a week.
Don't worry about keys. I can get these cells open.
Please do.
Yervith, you stroll on up, feeling pretty confident from the looks of things. Pull out your lock-picking kit. Could I please have a sleight of hand check to unlock the doors?
The-
25.
Whee.
There's a reason he looks confident. Yeah, that just pulls out his lock picks, dink, 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 and then as the lock clicks and the bars just open, the gate just opens. Daoug sort of looks almost a bit confused, reaches a hand out, almost looking like he's ready to pull it back, but then his hand just moves through the open door. He snatches it back and looks and goes, 8 months I've been here, and I've forgotten the smell of fresh air.
I look at Doug, and there is a sense of like Yervith looks like there is like a glint in his eye that is like, I know. And Yervith just nods and goes, I understand that pain. Trust me, brother.
I'm assuming you're taking your manacles off, your fake manacles at this stage.
Yeah. Those manacles are well and truly off. And I like roll down my sleeve, and you can just see like Yervith's arm is just like covered in scars and branding from years of being kept in a jail. Yeah, he just sort of goes, now's your time for freedom. To reclaim your city.
What's happening? The guards, it sounded like something was going on, and then this morning, that white dragon ordered everybody out, and I could hear the sounds of some heavy things being dragged and locked in cages. It mentioned the Council of Five. Has the revolution begun?
Not the way we would have liked, brother.
What's happened?
The children of Tiamat, after you left, the children of Tiamat seized control of the Equalists, and now their infernal cult has seized our fair city and poisoned and imprisoned the council.
No, this is not what we planned. Please tell me this hasn't been done in the Equalists' name.
Partially. They've rebranded, fortunately, to the Children of Tiamat, but the association is known.
Shite. This is not what we wanted, Ekarni. This is not what we fought for.
No, we'll need a solid PR campaign, mate.
Very solid. Hearts and minds. You said the council had been captured. How? The council, ancient dragon. How have they been captured?
Poisoned. Underhanded tactics. We're not sure by exactly who yet, but a large three-legged black dragon has taken control of the area.
Did you say a three-legged black dragon?
Does that sound familiar to you?
There was a banished dragon way back. I only know him by his moniker, Darkwing. I don't know his name, but he was banished for trying to overthrow the council. This is
He's got his wish.
100 years more ago, following the ruin. He said the councillor betrayed Tiamat and tried to overthrow them. Led an uprising of various other dragons, chromatic and metallic. Tried to take control. The council were unable to kill him, I think, or unwilling, and allowed him to leave, banished, never to return.
Well, it seems they should have killed him in this case. He's back, and he is incredibly cruel. The name Darkwing is too kind to him.
Yes. Darkwing the Cruel, then, shall we? Rename, part of our rebranding. We'll put it all on him. Make it all his fault, eh?
Hardly our fault, Doug.
Jin sort of strides up in his green dragonborn form.
Yes, Shenron. Nice to meet you. What were you saying before about other members captured here? There's rows and rows of people. Are these all members of your little group? No, some are. I can point out the members of our group, and as can you, Ekarni, but others are criminals, and there were 2 others brought here, captured. Brother Sly has been killed.
I assume that's another big equalist.
No, nickname for the piece of shit you hate.
He was killed.
Yes. I heard one of the other prisoners talking about it. He was stepped on by another dragon. They just crushed him underfoot.
Ooh.
Look, I don't mean to be insensitive, but Brother Cyphus is definitely part of the reason we're in this situation to begin with, I'm afraid.
Indeed, he was the one who said that the cult of the dragon, the order of the dragon, I should say, not doesn't say cult, the order of the dragon. He was the one who said that they could be allies. I was taken not long after that, captured by the city guards for daring to hang up posters of propaganda and spreading dissent. Acts of terrorism is what I've been charged with.
Education could hardly be considered dissent.
Aye, but I think in their minds it does make them afraid, so I guess terror does make sense there, hey?
When will they learn that equality is not a terrible, disastrous thing? They don't lose anything by us gaining.
No, if anything...
All we have to lose is our chains.
I couldn't agree more. What are you planning to do? I'm so grateful you came to rescue me. Is the plan to get the Equalists out and to leave? What's the plan?
The plan is to get the Equalists out and save the city.
Save the city? No offense, Ekarni, but how?
We're working on it.
Got a 5-point
plan. You mentioned 2 others that were taken here.
Yes, Dragonborn and someone else. I don't know.
Are they still here? Do you know?
Yes, one of the cells down towards the back. We should free the Equalists. Your friend, the elf. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
He's a human. Don't be offensive to him.
What?
You said you're a human, right?
Sorry, human. Could you unlock... if I point out some cages, could you unlock them, please?
I'm certainly not a human. I gesture at the ears.
I was right the first time. I said elf, but Ekarni, you said he was human.
I'm a wood elf.
Sorry, I
humanoids.
Yes.
I'm going to not be grossly offended, and I'm going to help your kind because I know what it is like to be captured and kept in such conditions.
Yes. I'm sorry, I did not mean any offense. Please forgive me. We don't get many travelers from other lands here.
Maybe that will change with your establishment if you come into power.
I have no... Ekarni, I don't think we ever discussed this, but we see no reason to have curfews for other races within the city walls.
I was historically a bit apprehensive about the humans and others, but this group has certainly proved a capable group of companions to adventure with. God, eloquence is really not my strong suit tonight.
Thank goodness you're a paladin with charisma as your primary stat.
I'll chalk this one up to the flu. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, please, I'll point to the cages. If you can help me unlock them, we'll free our brethren, and then we can go investigate these others, and perhaps see if we can find a way to help the council members. If that's your plan, are you hoping that they'll be grateful enough to give us what we want?
I don't see a better way to achieve all of our goals. I mean, we never really wanted the council removed, just representation for us on it.
Maybe there's a chance to prove our worth beyond just a slave workforce. Maybe there's a chance to prove us as equals.
People.
Yeah.
In any case, the council members are poisoned. We know that there is a cure, but the enemy has the cure in their possession. We still need to figure out where that is before we depart this area.
Do you know who stole it?
Well, based on my assessment of the situation, members, either of the Children of Tiamat or Equalist sympathizers, although I doubt it was your kind, infiltrated Alia's manor broke into her greenhouse and stole them. Now, I believe they're in the hands of the children of Tiamat, which would make the most sense. Or somewhere in the Citadel. Potentially close by.
I can't imagine they would keep the cure far away from the poison in case they needed it for blackmail or for...
That's my thinking. Could potentially be somewhere here. You haven't seen any sort of movements here, Doug?
Doug. No, I've not. I've not seen any. I've not seen anything. What would this cure look like? Are we talking about some sort of potion or some sort of?
It was probably just a plant. I don't know if they would have had time to distill it into a potion.
I don't know then. No, not that I've seen. I'm sorry, but perhaps if we are able to get some equalists together and send them out through some bolt holes, we might be able to locate, get some information, find out where it is.
Sounds good. I'll get to it.
Did you say Elia? She's here too.
Well, yes. When we found out about the break-in and the poison being stolen, Elia realized we found information left behind at the crime scene that the poison was going to be used to poison the council members, and Elia found out and went to try and stop it, but to our knowledge, she was captured. We don't know for sure if she was captured, but we believe with everything that's happened.
I've heard the White Dragon talking. He's got her in another set of cells upstairs. She's in her Dragonborn form. He's got her magically paralyzed.
Do you know how his power works, this White Dragon?
No, I'm sorry. I don't. I'm not sure it's him specifically, but I think it's some aspect of the cells or some magic involved with keeping prisoners under lock and key. I don't know how it works. I'm a baker, for God's sake.
Well, when this is all said and done, you can bake me some fresh pastries. Because my friend here has some very stale pastries, and I am, quite frankly, don't want to see another stale pastry in my life.
Yes, I probably could do with replacing some of my stale pastries with some fresh ones. That's a good idea. Thank you, Yervith.
Of course. Don't mention it.
Right, well, if you can help me unlock the cages, I think we should be prepared for whatever may come. See what we can find.
Say no more. And Yervith will go and open the cages.
Alrighty. That, I think, is where we'll wrap up for tonight, because this next bit's going to be a bit more involved, I suspect.
Oh,
I think that's a good little bit to leave you guys on as we prepare for the next session. Prison Break. This is going to be very exciting. No, I'm very, very excited. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I can see chat's been asking some quick questions. Yes, in answer to your questions, this is a very homebrewed version of the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. We are doing the Council of Dragons. However, rather than just arriving in the city and chatting to some dragons, then coming back, I've got a whole story arc built around this. So this is all set in my homebrew world, Nostea, with all homebrew story elements as well. This is not just a throwaway bit where they go and talk to the dragons and just like convince dragons to join them and that's it. That's too railroady. I decided to have a whole chapter, a whole segment on this. So we're having a lot of fun with this. I can see you've also planned on doing some homebrewing with Rise of Tiamat. Couldn't agree more. It's a campaign. Tyranny of Dragons is very railroady. It benefits from a bit of homebrewing, a bit of TLC, shall we say. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming and watching. We really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this, give us a like or a comment if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on listening on a various podcast platform, give us a rating, give us a like if that's possible, or a rating or a comment or whatever you are able to do. We really appreciate it. It really helps us out. But for the moment, that's it from us. We will see you all again next week. Now, there is no Avatar Legends session tomorrow night. I'm really sorry. I won't be able to run Avatar Legends RPG. We will be doing it sometime next week, possibly Monday or Tuesday. I will put out a poll to check with our players and see what days suit them. But definitely no session tomorrow night. Okay. That's it from me, everybody. Stay safe. Stay well. We will see you all again next time. But until then, farewell. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.